Hi all, Rick here with a video that a while ago would have gone into the purely apocryphal playlist, but I'm pleased to say is now a canon vessel, with its background appearance as a model in the legacy of the USS Titan A, the Shangri-La Class Starship. Combining the apocrypha with what we know, we get a good history to this starship and its legacy emerging in the Prime timeline. The original design comes from Bill Krause's Shangri-La Class, which appeared in the official Ships of the Line calendar of 2022. With the emergence of Season 3 of Star Trek Picard, the Shangri-La Class was made canon as one of the precursor USS Titans, and the Neo-Constitution class even being heavily modelled on this vessel. The model from Star Trek Online is based on Howard Day's rendition. The name was derived from the Shangri-La CVS-38, an Essex-class aircraft carrier of the US Navy. That vessel allegedly derived its name from a quip made by President Roosevelt when asked where their aircraft had launched from after the Doolittle raid. He replied evasively, Shangri-La, so a carrier was attributed that name. So moving on to its in-universe lore now. The Shangri-La began its inception after the Voyager incident in 2271, when Starfleet was presented with a reminder of just how far they had come, but how far yet they had to go. In the following decade, mounting Klingon tensions and several large-scale disasters went on to stress the organisation, so the Advanced Ship Design Bureau began to churn out new concepts to tackle the changing landscape. In partnership with the Experimental Concepts and Applications Division, and drawing from the already underway modification program, which was in the midst of upgrading ships like the Constitution and Miranda, the ASDB created the Shangri-La class, alongside other new designs. The vessel was basically designed to be a faster, more manoeuvrable, and combat-ready version of the Constitution class, and as such was frequently deployed on missions where skirmishes and security were a concern. This saw it engage in numerous Klingon border battles before the establishment of the Khitomer Accords. Technically it remained a cruiser in designation, however if one were to add the affix attack to it, it would not be incorrect, but very un-Federation of you. With a very reserved scale, it aimed to be a vessel that was quicker to produce than the Excelsior, with a more focused mission profile. The prototype was the USS Shangri-La, NCC 2575, in the mid-2280s, the lack of an NX denoting that it entered into active service where it continued to operate until the late 2290s. Alongside this, two other vessels were known, the USS Surprise, NCC 7577, and the USS Titan, NCC 1777. The latter of these two was captained by Saavik, and performed an important role. Historically, the Enterprise has been the standard bearer of the United Federation of Planets, and nicknamed the Federation flagship. However, there have been numerous points where there was not an Enterprise in service, such as between the decommissioning of the Enterprise A and the launch of the Excelsior Class B in 2293. In this interim, and on the recommendation of Captain Sulu, the USS Titan acted as the stand-in flagship, taking on the associated duties that often entailed. I like the synergy here, that years down the line, a USS Titan also ends up under the command of a former Enterprise First Officer, and it sort of mirrors the role the original Titan undertook while its era's Enterprise was gone. Now, this bit might not have translated into canon, but originally the saucer section was not filled out at the rear, with the Ranger subtype adding these for extended deck space later on. As of now, however, the only Shangri-La we see always featured these. The Shangri-La class is comparable to the Constitution at only 295 metres long, 142 wide, and a much narrower 52 tall. It had a crew of around 461 across 16 decks. The warp drives were twin LN68s with a maximum warp factor of 8.7. The warp coils themselves were specifically designed to handle sudden bursts of power, in effect giving it a quicker acceleration to FTL speeds, as well as just generally being sturdier to damage. In terms of impulse, this is really where the ship shone. It's hard to miss the oversized drives on the rear of the saucer, which were a marked upscale from the Constitution class and featured redundancies to maintain the power flow, even under extreme duress. With the combination of these powerful generators, at least 50% more effective than the next contemporary, and liberal usage of the RCS thrusters, this ship was incredibly quick at sublight speeds. The vessel features a prominent array of weapons, notably the 3 photon torpedo launchers at the fore of the saucer. These are bolstered by the sequential warhead loader, allowing for a rapid salvo of photons, each increasing in yield to hammer on deflector shielding and hopefully cause it to fail. It had a single rear-facing launcher, which had similar capabilities. It featured 11 ball turret points, which were capable of burst or constant stream fire. 3 dual points on the upper saucer, 3 under, 2 on the aft upper, and 1 dual on the lower, with 2 dual arrays underneath. It also had a system in place to cycle energy into the impulse drive and phaser arrays at the same time, allowing for additional power in both systems, keeping them cycled up. This increases both its turn rate and recharge rate between firing. Its shuttle bays were callbacks to earlier designs, with a drop launch hangar similar to the original NX class. There were 2 drop bays at the rear and a more traditional hangar at the back. Overall, the ship contained 12 shuttles, with around a dozen small craft of various roles. The saucer section could separate for emergency evacuation, and there are landing legs under it for a planetary touchdown, providing it's not crashing. In many ways, the vessel is a more militarised version of that iconic Constitution starship. From the narrower profile to the prominent torpedo launchers, and it sits in an era when Starfleet did not know what was around the corner. The late 23rd century may have seen the beginning of the Khitomer peace talks, but at that time, combat with the Klingon Empire was frequent, with only the Treaty of Organia, an almost imposed peace, holding back all-out war. Fortunately, calmer minds would prevail in both the Federation and Klingon Empire, and over the following years as we moved into the Lost Era or Golden Age of Starfleet, the need for the Shangri-La Class passed, and these ships were retired from service. Of course, the class would emerge as the inspiration for the similar Constitution Mark III, or Neo-Constitution class of the 25th century. Despite the name, this new Connie's frame was designed based on the Shangri-La. However, its mission profile was very much more in the spirit of the Constitution starship. Overall, this ship has risen to be among my favourite designs, especially from the movie era for its unique flair on a classic silhouette. Thanks for watching this breakdown on the Shangri-La class, one of many deserving vessels to migrate into canon and a worthy member of the Titan name. I've been Rick, and until the next one, thanks again, and goodbye.